What is good, everyone? Welcome to the channel. My name is Paul. I make videos about Japanese society, life and culture from the viewpoint of a long-term foreign resident. I've been in Japan for 20 years and I've seen a bunch of videos recently popping up on my feed. Is it worth moving to Japan or living in Japan as a foreigner in 2025? As well as a really good video recently by Retro Japan channel, which is something I recommend you check out. We don't know each other, so I'm not being asked to shout it out or anything, but he's doing a really good job making good videos, and he did a video about how living in Japan as a foreigner has changed in this recent year. And obviously there's been all of the news about how there's this kind of anti-foreigner sentiment rising here, and people are a little bit fed up with tourists, etc. Those are all external factors, and those videos tended to focus on those. The video I want to make today is more introspective, asking yourself why you want to live in Japan and what is it about this place that speaks to you as a place where you want to spend the rest of your life, or at least be here indefinitely. So the title of the video is probably going to be Why Am I Here? And while I will be sharing a little bit of my personal journey, it's also going to be talking about some basic points that you might want to consider if you are thinking of whether Japan is right for you. And that I would include is those of you who are living here already, if only a few years or many years. The first thing I want to talk about is kind of the mundane, everyday considerations. This is because I've had people in my comments sections before say things like, well, I live in Japan because it's safe and I have great access to healthcare. And those are absolutely true. I mean, Japan is definitely a place well known for its safety, and healthcare here is inexpensive and very accessible. It's very true. But first of all, on a personal standpoint, I see a doctor once a year for my health check, so I can't relate to people who have to have regular medical care for various reasons. And if that's you, then maybe Japan is a better place to be, compared to like the US, where the medical system is renownedly screwed up. Also, the safety thing, where I grew up in the States, and even the condition that place is, the town I grew up in is now, I wouldn't have worried if I was raising my kid there in this day and age. So the safety thing for me, I never felt unsafe where I lived before, and I wouldn't have felt it was unsafe for my child either. So while I can understand and respect those two reasons, they're not tops of my list for me. But in addition to that, I kind of wonder, is that really enough? Like, Japan is a very different place from Canada, United States, countries in Europe. Is it enough to just have access to healthcare and safe streets? Some people watching this video may say yes, but for me, I have trouble imagining that. I have trouble imagining that the place where I've chosen to set down roots for the rest of my life and pursue my life, that would not be enough for me to be tied to a place. But of course, I'm not knocking anyone for whom that is really why they're here or why they want to move to Japan. Although I caution, if it's a reason to move to Japan, just be careful that that really is going to be enough for you, because there's a lot of challenges of living here. It's a lot harder to live in Japan than it would be in your home country. And there are countries other than Japan that I would say are easier to move to that could be considered safe and having good health care. The next thing that people consider when I think about places to live is how much they enjoy that place, like fun and hobbies and entertainment and being involved in activities and such. Which, yes, if you have hobbies that are driving you and can sustain you while you're in Japan, be it like a martial art, or you're studying some kind of traditional art, or even if you're just part of a soccer group that you compete with in a soccer league here, and that drives you as something that you love, I mean, that's certainly a reason to want to live in a place. However, again, life is more than just hobbies, and so you have to think about, when you're older and maybe not able to move so well, is soccer really going to be an option for you? It is a great way to meet Japanese people and become part of Japanese communities here, so I'd always recommend people when they live in Japan try to become active in local something. But for me personally, again, this is not what drives me to stay here, because my current hobby, other than reading books and watching movies in my house, my current hobby is running. So I do join running events like marathons and the like, and so there's a kind of camaraderie when you're at the start line with all the other people and when you've reached the finish line, etc. But that hobby, I'm mostly by myself. Like, I'm out running in the morning or the early afternoon, and it's just me and the pavement, my running shoes, and I'm not interacting with anyone. So it's not something that is tying me to Japan, because obviously I could do the running anywhere I am in the world. So how about the next obvious thing? Career, family. Those are certainly reasons to be tied to a place. I have Japanese family. I have a career here that I chose to pursue, so much so that I actually went back to the States for grad school in order to return to Japan and pursue my career here. So for me, that was a certain reason to come here and live here. But I came to live here not because I wanted to pursue my career here. I actually found the career I felt I'd be comfortable pursuing and got the advanced degree in that so that I could live in Japan. So it was at that point about living in Japan, not about pursuing that career. So that, again, me personally, in terms of my family, my wife, when we were getting ready to leave the United States, she was like, you know what, if it makes more sense for your career, it makes more sense for us to live in the US, like, I'm fine with staying here. We don't have to move back to Japan. So it wasn't even the Japanese side of my family that was pushing. And you might say, well, that's just tatemae, like she was just saying that to make you feel good about, we could live in America. But that doesn't really make sense in our case, because I was the one that was really pushing to move back to Japan. She had no reason to resist that unless she really meant, I could live in the US if we chose to do that. For anyone else, career, family are obviously big important reasons to live in a certain place. But again, I caution you, there are plenty of stories of people who have a family here and end up feeling kind of trapped because at some point they realize that Japan really isn't for them. They're really not so happy about being here for the long run. But now they feel trapped because they've got family, they've got kids in Japanese schools, they've got a wife or husband who doesn't want to leave Japan. And so they're stuck. And career can be the same thing. You could come here to be an English teacher and you teach for several years and you reach a point where you're like, I guess this really isn't for me. I don't want to continue doing this. And then, okay, now what skills have I gained? What experience do I have to return to the job market in my home country? Like, have I timed out, so to speak? Are you now trapped in an English teaching or some other type of job in Japan because you don't have the necessary skills or experience to return to your home country and really compete? You'd have to get another degree, you'd have to get another licensing or something like that, which would cost time and money that you might not have. So you have to be careful. I always have great respect for my friend Dave, who was teaching at the same university I'm at now. He was not married, wasn't dating anyone at the time, and was just like, I'm not dating anyone now, and I know I don't want to do this forever, so I'm going back to the States now before it's too late. And the way he put it was, before I'm stuck in the dead end of career or before I'm in a shotgun wedding. So he went back to the States. He saw the writing on the wall, realized that he didn't want to be in Japan forever, and so he got out. I know people who were the opposite. They didn't escape, and they're not particularly happy about being in Japan, including one person who had a complete nervous breakdown and ended up leaving Japan just for those health reasons. The person couldn't take it anymore. So be careful about that. The final one is, don't believe a few trips to Japan tells you what it's like to live here, because daily life is not all crane games and anime goods, and you have a lot of fun here as a tourist, and you can pursue a lot of fun stuff, which you still can do as a resident, obviously, but time and money, your daily life is overtaken by mundane concerns, and life becomes very much like anywhere else. It's just day in and day out routine, and your life becomes just normalcy. But at the same time, it's a little more difficult, because now you're operating in a different language and different writing system with different customs and unwritten rules that you maybe have not been clued into yet. So it's not easy. So those things I've mentioned up till now may be enough to drive you. Career might be enough. Your family might be enough. Safety and healthcare might be enough, etc., or some combination thereof. However, I think that for a lot of us who have been here a long time, there's something that goes beyond. There's a greater connection to this place. And it's different for different people. For me, I got in touch with that again on my trip with Patrick, where we went to Kyoto and Hiroshima recently. I don't travel in Japan nearly as much as I would like, and that's kind of my one regret. I try to get out as much as possible. I realized, though, for me on this trip, that what drives me is the constant desire to know more about this place, the constant desire to go down the roads that I've read about in the history books, or that I've read about in certain travel logs, or writers like Donald Keene or Donald Ritchie, Alex Kerr, and the like, that I've had my imagination captured by, that I just need to know more about it. I need to find out more about it. I need to see the places for myself. So going to Enryakuji in Kyoto was just, while I was there, I felt this just move within myself, like I was connected to this place because I'd read so much about it, and I'd thought so much about just what it must have been like to have been a monk in this important Buddhist temple complex back in its heyday, and then to have everything destroyed by Oda Nobunaga, and to walk those grounds myself and see the places where what was a place of worship became a place of terror and fire, and understand, like, in a human connection way, myself and, ironically, to a history of a nation to which I don't belong. And it's kind of weird if you think about it in those terms, because I've been to Lexington and Concord in the US, I've been to Jamestown, I've been to Monticello, I've been to New York, I've been to Pennsylvania and seen the Liberty Bell, I've been all over DC, I've been to Native American lands and seen ceremonies by Native Americans. So the history of the United States, where I'm from, I've certainly had experiences along those lines, but for whatever reason, they never just captured hold of my heart or my imagination in the same way that Japanese history and traditions have. So I guess what I'm saying is that the reason I'm here is this. Japan captured me in a way that the US and other places I visited hadn't. And while I say that, like, that's what it is, I can't really explain why. I mean, was I Japanese in a previous life? Was there something about this culture that speaks to my internal character, that I relate to it in some way? I don't know. I can't actually put into words what that's about. But what I can say in words is that the fact that I've found the thing that drives me, I've found the thing that keeps me here, that makes me want to keep traveling and turning every corner and seeing every new thing. That's why I'm here after all these years. The curiosity just doesn't go away. And this channel, in many ways, is just a giant retrospective of my time here as well, because I'm always talking about society and culture and trying to get my thoughts out about what I see Japanese society being and my place within it and how I understand it. And I've done it for 6 years, most of those 6 years with a very, very small audience. So I'm not doing it because I want to become a big YouTuber, and this kind of content is way too niche for that. I'm not doing travel content like 5 things to do in Shinjuku or the rules to enter Japan have changed and all those kind of videos that get the hundreds of thousands of clicks on them, because, well, if you're watching and you've made it this far in the video, you probably have a special connection to Japan as well, that you're actually interested in a topic like this enough to still be watching after this time. So let us know in the comments below, what is your special connection? What is it that draws you to this place, either as a frequent visitor or a long-term resident, or someone who's never visited but just feels a strong draw to do so? Let us know in the comments. And again, thank you for watching the video. This isn't exactly one of my normal topics where I'm digging deep within myself trying to figure out what it is that drives my passion for Japan. And I'm not sure I explained it all that particularly well in any case. But at the end of the day, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you take something from this and realize that, or use this rather, to take a moment and think about your own situation. Like, why am I here? Is this place the right place for me? Is this where I want to spend time indefinitely into the future? And if you can answer the question easily, yes or no, well, you have your answer. If you're not sure, continue exploring and explore further and try to find what perhaps drives you in this place. Okay, that's all I got for today. I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. Again, like, subscribe, share the video. Check out my other content. Like I said, I've been doing this 6 years. I've got quite the back catalog of things. If there's a topic about Japan, there's a fair chance I've talked about it. But at the end of the day, thanks for watching this particular video. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. I would ask you if you want me to make more videos from other places in Japan and go into travelogues and nerd out or geek out on history or the importance of certain places that I'm visiting when I go. You can support the channel in a number of ways. Most obviously by liking this video, sharing it, subscribing, getting my videos out to a wider audience. But if you also want to help me to have the funds to travel more, you can help the channel directly. I have several sponsors below, including SakuraCo, selling curated Japanese snacks, Japanese lessons through Japonin. You can support directly by becoming a channel member or joining my Patreon, as well as just hitting the thanks button is also a possibility if you want to give directly. Okay, commercial over.